Oh, Bloodborne. The game that makes you feel good when shooting a newborn infant before ripping its guts out. While I was killing dogs and fisting pigs, I thought, wait, how do these bullets work? The game states they're made of quicksilver, but quicksilver, or mercury, is a liquid. The in-game image even shows it melting. Is this possible? In the real world, mercury is used in all thermometers since mercury expands when it gets warmer. But because it's very poisonous, they stopped doing that. It's still used in manometers and electrical switches, but none of those can be fired out of a gun. As I said, quicksilver is liquid until cooled down, and I mean really cooled down. It only solidifies below minus 39.8 degrees Celsius. Damn, is the night that cold in Yarnum? Where's the snow? The only other explanation is that the hunter has a fridge up his ass right next to all those molotovs and pebbles. There is a cut item that shows them in some kind of cooling container, but since it's cut, I can't in good faith consider it canon, so fridge it is. The crystal structure is rhombohedral. The fuck's that word? This basically means that the structure forms cubes. We don't need this for anything, I just thought my teacher might like to know. In other news, YouTube tells me 100.3% of you are not subscribed. I did not edit this number. This is actually what YouTube showed me. Obviously, we need to establish what gun we're looking at. I could not find the dimensions of the pistol in Bloodborne, so instead I looked up the dimensions of some of flintlocks in museums. I want to give this bullet the biggest chance possible, so I went conservative with it. We're going to say the barrel is 26.4 centimeters long and the caliber is 11. It's made of steel, which is good because mercury can form amalgams, a sort of alloy, on its own with other metals, but not with iron, which is the base of steel. With this, we can also calculate some stuff about the bullet. We know that the diameter is 11, that's our caliber. With this, we can do pixel measurements to find that the game bullet is about 57 millimeters long. With that, I also found the mass, which is at 56.55 grams. I also found out that these types of guns shoot between a minimum of 305 meters per second and a maximum of 610 meters per second. Again, we are going conservative, so let's go with 305. So, let's say you cool down the bullet enough for it to solidify. Would it survive being shot? There are two things we need to calculate here, the initial blast of the gunpowder and the friction inside the barrel. Let's start with the gunpowder. Black gunpowder creates a heat of 464 degrees Celsius. You might realize that is a little higher than the initial minus 39.8 we started at, but as it turns out, quicksilver is very bad at conducting heat. Specifically, it has a heat conduction rate of 0.082 watts per centimeters, whatever any of this is. From here we can calculate the amount that would be affected. To do that, we need this formula, and holy shit! I can't be arsed explaining this. Basically, this gives the rate of the heat transfer in watts per second, which we can turn to watts. For the time, I estimated about 0.1 second. It's probably shorter than that, though. From here, you divide it by the latent heat of fusion or vaporization, and then we can see that only about
3.12
gram turns to liquid, and
1.2
it's a gas. That's honestly nothing. That's like this. Nothing's enough to be effective. I fully expected this thing to vaporize instantly, but here we are. For friction, we need the friction force, and to get that, we need to know the coefficient of friction of our steel barrel. So, basically how smooth it is. This can vary between 0.6 to 0.09, but considering we're talking about a flintlock from the Victorian era, I think it's unreasonable to say it would be that smooth, so we're going with the former. If we multiply that by the normal force, we get frictional force. Multiply that by the length of the barrel, divide it by the heat of fusion or vaporization, and we again see how much we lose. Unsurprisingly, the bullet does not survive. The friction is enough to liquefy 77 grams, and the bullet was 56. Also, nearly 3 grams turned to gas. So no, it does not work. that sword is looking quite a bit more effective against angry Britons after Brexit than your equivalent to a super soaker. But does that even matter? Remember when I said quicksilver is poisonous? Like, when I presented this to the teacher, the first thing he asked was if I planned to test this. I said no, obviously, and he said he wouldn't have allowed it otherwise. Effects of mercury include neuromuscular changes like weakness and twitching. Maybe that explains why enemies just shut down in Bloodborne. But there's also insomnia, headaches, emotional changes, and more. Those are not that bad yet, though. If you look at methyl mercury, which causes brain damage, harm to kidneys and lungs, and even damages to the neural systems in children and unborn babies. It's also proven cancerous in rats and mice, but not in humans, so maybe effective against werewolves? By the way, as I explained, a part of the bullet will turn to gas in the gun, which means there's a good chance you'll breathe it in when you fire, so yeah, this thing is dangerous to the user too. Bonus section. Since The Lost Faith takes a lot of inspiration from Bloodborne, let's look at those boots as well while I'm at it. There's already one difference, being that they actually deal damage in game, so let's run the calculations and see. Let's see, what are they made of? Demioxide. The fuck is demioxide? Hold on. It says oxide, which is just oxygen. Dio means 2 atoms. Mono is 1. Demi is half. What, are you telling me they split atoms and turned that into bullets? Is that even possible? No, I'm done. It's not happening. I'm off dealing with the puppy in the cathedral. Goodbye.